Hello everyone, welcome back to Datu's Corner. I'm your host, Datu Tim. So today's topic is a follow-up to the one we talked about, modern Arnis belt structure. Today's topic will be the modern Arnis uniform. So this was the one up until the time of Professor's passing in 2001. So I'm going to start off from the beginning. So first and foremost, for those who weren't aware, Professor Praces not only was the founder of Modern Arnis, but was also a goodwill ambassador for the Philippines. He was sponsored by the government to travel the world to spread the martial culture of Arnis. So while he was getting things going, karate and judo was very popular. So he looked at them and said, what do they have that we don't? So part of the thing was the training structure. When you hit someone in the hands and you're a labor-based society and you smash your hands, you can't use them anymore, you can't work, which means you can't provide for the family. So it's understandable how other systems became popular. I just could never fathom how Japanese martial arts got so popular shortly after World War II, considering on which side the Philippines fought on. But nonetheless, karate and judo had uniforms, belting system, katas, and Professor Praces, who also trained, he was a 5th or 6th dan in Shotokan, took those structures and applied those concepts to the modern Arnis, which helped organize, get it systematized, and get it out there in front of the public. And he started promoting this as Filipino karate, or AKA it was Kung Fu Filipino style, depending on which magazine you were looking at. So the original uniform was not this. So I have a Black Belt magazine, November '77. The professor was featured in there, and it's hard to see. It's not in color. So he wore a t-shirt and pants. So it was a white t-shirt, it was red pants. And he wore the belt. So the belt, we'll start with that. So it is for black belt, Professor had a belt with a red border. I honestly don't know why it's a red border. It's our colors. I know a lot about the art, but every time I was around Professor, I learned something new, which makes me wonder on what I didn't learn, which is why we have to work together so we don't lose the art or bits and pieces that not everyone was taught. So I never asked why, I just asked how. So how to get promoted, how to train for the next thing. So what we did is we took our belts, and what made it a little different was the knot was not in the front. It was actually on the side. So we'll talk about the whole thing. So first and foremost, the uniform and the way we wore the belt was homage to the farmers. So when you're working in the rice fields, there's a lot of red clay. You're in a lot of water. So the pants would be stained red if they were any other color. So the farmers would wear red pants. And obviously cut down on heat absorption, they would wear a white shirt. So originally the uniforms in the Philippines for Professor, and actually is my Kuntao as well, and Kuntao, Lanada Kuntao, the jackets were white and the pants were red. Well, Professor had the t-shirts were white and the pants were red. And then he had the belt on the side. Now, why would the belt be on the side? Well, farmers would actually wear rope to hold their pants up. And they pulled the knot to the side just like a mechanic might take the belt buckle and put it to the side. Now you got to figure out, you're bending and squatting and moving around and you've got this knot digging into your belly. So you put it off to the side. And this is why Professor did this. Now the other reason is, as I take another prop, what Professor told me is if you had a belt or a blade in your belt, you would take it out really fast. And if this was in the middle, the knots could possibly get tied up on this. And Professor and I would always go at each other. We had a nice little fun taking shots at each other. And on one of my tests, I actually put my knot on the wrong side. He's like, hey, you got to fix that. Okay, and then about a year later, he'd put his on the left side, and I go, or on the left side. I'm like, Professor, your belt's on the wrong side. He goes, oh, I'm left-handed, because he would draw from the right as a lefty to pull his weapon out. So, how did we get to here and when? So, first of all, this is what the uniform evolved into. So, I have people call it the bolero jacket or whatnot. This is not Filipino. So, this is an American sport karate uniform. Professor went to this, so you have the 3/4 jacket with the 3/4 sleeves, you had the Velcro in the front, piping here, and he would have matching pants. And he would wear a couple different colors, but the students, no matter what the belt level, would wear the black uniform. Now I know some organizations, they reserve the black only for the black belts. That is not what Professor did. Everyone wore the same uniform. So, how do we get here? So, this was the sport karate uniform that Century Martial Arts put out. This is what the sport fighters use. So if you look, so in 77, he was wearing t-shirt and pants. 1981, September, he's on the cover. Okay, and there he is with the Century top on. Okay. Now, I'm not sure when Century started this, so I'm actually going to reach out to them and see if they have any ideas why it is. But Professor saw this. He liked it. He put it on. Went back to the Philippines. They saw it, and everyone copied it. Saw it in the magazines. So when you go to the Philippines, the funny thing here is, you watch all these people wearing these very similar uniforms, but it was an American sport karate uniform that was adapted. Now, I've had a bunch of people ask me, I still have a bunch of these left, and no, I'm not selling them. I use them for my demo team. But if you still want these, Century Martial Arts, which I'll have the number show up on the screen, which is probably already doing that once I get done editing this, you call their customs department. They still will sell. They still will make this uniform. You need to do a minimum of 6, but you tell them, you call them up, and if you forget, you can always give me a holler. I can help you out. This is the sport uniform, the old sport competitor uniform. So they stopped making this uniform around 90-91. And that's when I asked Professor, what are we going to wear? He didn't know, so I went to a black karate gi. So that's why most of you'll see me wearing gis all the time. Then I had a whole bunch of these made, probably 99, 98. I still have them. Century came out for a short run. The Taibo uniform was this uniform for a while. Okay, but how we got here once again was Professor came to the United States, saw the uniform, because they say no, it came from the Philippines. Why would Century Martial Arts make a uniform for an abstract minority martial art that they've never heard of before? Okay, they had this for the sport karate guys. Remy liked it and adopted to what he was doing. And people around the world, when I was going to Europe, they're like, hey, how do we get these uniforms? How do we get these uniforms? Century. This is back when Professor was still with us. Until, of course, after about 90-91, they stopped doing it. So, started off with a white top, red pants, and a belt. Then it evolved when he saw this top, he'd start wearing these, and most of the magazine covers that you'll see him on, he's got this uniform. And how did this get here? Because Professor Prices happened to be over here, happened to see the sport karate guys, and said, that's the uniform I want. And that's how the modern Arnis uniform evolved to where it is up until the time he passed away. So, I hope you enjoyed the content. I hope this was educational. If you have any suggestions for topics, you can get a hold of me at datutim@gmail.com. Once again, datutim@gmail.com. You can also find me on Facebook. My website's it's datuhartman.com, or the organization is wmarnis.com. All right. Well, thanks for joining me today, and we'll see you on the next episode of Datu's Corner.